Hello, my beloved friends. Welcome once again to the Joshua Jordan Experience. I'm so glad you're here. Today, our topic is about power. Let's talk about our power as creators. Now, in the seventh major understanding, a message of awakening, on chapter 6, we talk about our third major understanding, which is our use of power. And today I thought I would just go through and share with you the 7 summary points in that chapter so you will get a clear overview of what's in the chapter itself. However, there's a lot of gold nuggets in there that won't be covered in this summary. I'll start by sharing with you this quote. It is Fred Allen Wolf, PhD. He says, "You, in a very real sense, are holding all of us in the palm of your hand. You are the liberator of all sentient life forms." Now, Dr. Wolf means that entirely because you create reality and the world cannot change without you. And your local area cannot change without you. You are the creator. Now, let me share with you the 7 key summary points from this chapter. Point number 1. I think I've already begun. It says, you are God on earth with the power to create your own reality. Now, that reality we are experiencing at this time is physical. So we are limited in physical creation by the laws that govern this framework of reality. In other words, you won't suddenly say, I can walk through walls and create that and start walking through walls. That's not in agreement with the framework of this reality. So you have the power to create your reality, and yet there is a framework that controls what is possible here. Now, in your imagination, you have absolutely no limitations whatsoever. There's no laws of physics managing your imagination. So use your powerful imagination. You can imagine walking through walls. You can imagine flying. You can imagine breathing underwater. I have dreamt all of those things in dreams. They have been my reality. So you see, we're not really limited to the physical dimension because a part of us is always non-physical. And yet the body is governed by physical properties, the physics of this world. And you will not be able to defy the physics because that's not the agreement you entered to manifest physically. You agreed to manifest physically and follow the rules of our framework. In other words, you can't just step off the roof and glide to the ground. Physics will work. Point number 2. Your power to create cannot be shut off. The power to create your reality is innate in our creation, in the creator who created us to be creators. You see, that very power was passed on to us by our creator. So your power to create reality is an innate, it's just a part of you. It cannot be taken from you. It cannot be taken from anyone. Now, some people think others are creating their reality, but I don't seem to be successful at it. That is an illusion. As a matter of fact, that is totally inaccurate. For you truly are creating everything that's happening around you right now. your environment that you have created, your home, your workspace, all of this, you created that. No one created it for you. And the people you attract, the events of your life, your experiences, you created all that, attracted all of that, and gave it permission to enter your life. It can only happen. Your reality can only occur in agreement. No one can force a reality upon you that you did not agree to. Now, I know that sounds really egregious to people who have been victims of crimes or victims of circumstances. And yet, prior to that happening, on an unconscious level, you did agree to play your part in it. I know that's a challenge, and yet Joshua tells me it is reality. Point number three, everything, all that is consciousness and energy. Consciousness is the source of energy, and energy creates everything. Everything, physically manifested, everything is made of energy. E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. That was Einstein's belief. And the truth is, energy is everything, and it does form mass, and it's also formless. Energy can remain formless and unseen and unheard to our human senses. Since everything is created from energy, and we direct energy into manifestation through thought, then being mindful of our thoughts is extremely important. There's extreme value in listening to what I keep thinking and saying over and over again. Thoughts I repeat to myself become my beliefs, and my beliefs create my reality. So there are lots of ways to formulate this. It's thoughts plus emotions plus expectation equals reality. Now, thoughts occur every day, and a large percentage of the thoughts you will have today are the same thoughts you've had day after day after day. It's rare when we branch out because perhaps new stimulus has arrived. So be aware of the content of your thoughts. If you want to change your reality, change what you think. Now, what energizes thoughts are feelings, emotions. Emotional energy is the attractor in the law of attraction. So, what you want to be aware of is something that I want to bring into my reality. Don't just think about it. How will you feel? How will you feel when it's present, when you have it? How will you feel? And feel that now to the best of your ability. While you're thinking about the thing you want to create, feel how you're going to feel when it's there, when it's present and you have it. Fear is a very powerful attractor. When you are fearful, you begin to attract like energy very quickly. However, love is equally as powerful. Love is equally as powerful in attracting what you want in life. So if you can live in love and feel it as intensely as you feel fear, you will be able to attract more quickly the beautiful things you desire in life. So let's learn to transmute our feelings of fear into feelings of love. Now, love is often a much more passive energy than fear. Fear creates an immediate response within us. We will act on whatever we think needs to be done to ensure our survival. So, fear is very powerful in that it's so intense. So, if we can feel love just as intensely as we feel fear, we will also create immediate responses and reactions and begin attracting immediately those things we have desired from love. Point number 4, in summary, about our power to create. As soon as people learn I have the power to create my own reality, I begin to think I'm all powerful. I can go out and magically create everything I want and stop having these experiences that are not satisfactory or not fulfilling or absolutely too overwhelming, whatever. I think I create my own reality and therefore I'm going to fix it all and I'm going to have this perfect life. And then when that doesn't happen, people get disappointed and or even frustrated. Or they start to think this create your own reality stuff is baloney. It really is a bunch of baloney. Because why would I create this for myself? So, my friends, this is the biggest challenge about remembering your whole self. You see, your soul has much more awareness and intelligence about the purpose of your lifetime, the reason you came here. And there are actually times when it is not to your benefit to just go on a cruisy, easy life. You see? But some of us come into the lifetime with the purpose of having a cruisy, easy lifetime. And you have done that too. However, most likely in your current lifetime, you've had challenges, maybe illness, maybe you got fired, maybe you had a struggle with your family, felt disconnected from other human beings, some reason, some purpose where you wanted to withdraw. So you see, your soul is always working on your behalf. Your soul, who is always aware of your purpose for the lifetime, what you wanted to learn, is making sure that you fulfill that mission, right? You came into this life with a purpose. You came into this life with things you wanted to maybe square away. We call that, balancing karma, whatever. And things that perhaps you felt like you needed to experience to learn what you need to know. Now, life is our greatest teacher. So, generally speaking, and I am generalizing here, the vast majority of people, no matter how wealthy they are or if they're famous and powerful, that doesn't matter. They still have problems. They still have challenges. Things will still happen that cause them sorrow or grief. You see, no matter how rich you are, if your child dies of cancer or something like that, then you recognize being wealthy doesn't buy happiness, or being famous won't spare you from the grief of foolish behavior. I can think of many famous people who have behaved in such a way that they disgraced themselves. And yet, who judges that? I do. The point I want to make though is learning I create my own reality is an important awakening, an important awareness. Your subconscious and unconscious. And I tease those apart for no good reason, in that there's a spectrum from consciousness to unconsciousness. And somewhere in between that, I think there's a subconscious, almost conscious, and yet not totally unconscious. But the unconscious mind is creating your reality. I will repeat that because it's important. Your unconscious mind is creating your reality. Your conscious mind may be sitting and affirming, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am very, very wealthy, while your unconscious mind is saying, no, no, you're not. And you know what? We have decided that wealth is not the purpose of this lifetime for you. Having all that money isn't necessary for you to learn what you came here to learn or to fulfill the purpose of which you came here to fulfill. So we get in our conscious mind this idea that those who are wealthy are better off. And sure, money can buy a lot of things, but it will not buy love and it will not buy happiness. That all comes from in here. And the poorest of the poor can live in love and happiness. Some poor people are so happy you wouldn't believe how much they enjoy their lives, and yet they don't have the so-called luxuries that we might enjoy. So happiness is an inside job. It's not about something that's out there ever. Happiness isn't out there. Sorry. I know you've been looking for it, maybe. You're gonna find it. Look in here. That's where you find it. And it's so easy to find when you know where to look. Point number 5, I'm going to cover really briefly because I think a word to the wise is all it takes. You create your own reality. You cannot create anyone else's reality, no matter how much you may wish to. You cannot create a better reality for your children. They are responsible for their own mission, purpose, and adventure of this lifetime. You cannot create the reality of your lover or or someone that you wish would love you. You can't create that. You can't make that happen. The only reality you have power over, the only life in which you are God is your own, right? You are God of your life, not mine, and no one else's. So when we try to play God over other people's lives, when we think we can control them or control their reality, you are abusing your power and a lesson will follow. And that leads me from point number 5 into point number 6. Point number 6 is the abuse of power. When we attempt to have power over another or others, a group, etc., we are misusing and abusing our creative power. Now, we must remember that some of you are given power over a certain group. In other words, my family. It's my family, therefore I have power over them. And my children have to follow my rules. Yes, you can teach your children rules. You can teach your children your values, and you can teach your children how you expect them to behave. Now, will they do it? Most of the time, probably. And yet, in their own minds, they're thinking, well, if I were the dad, I would do this and that. Or if I were the mom of this family, I would do XYZ rather than what you want. Doesn't matter, you see. And your children can't create your reality either. So they have no power over you or the family. You have influence, is what you have. So The proper use of our power is to live our values, project our intentions, and in so doing, we have influence over other people. Now, whether other people accept our influence is totally free will, right? We cannot force our influence upon anyone because that is an abuse of power. But by following your influence, by hearing how you think, what you believe, what you may be teaching, you are influencing others. Now, again, they only accept your leadership based on their choices, their free will. So, in order to avoid an abuse of power, we remember that we have the right to influence not only the people around us, but our entire environment. We have the power to influence that. And if others adopt our influence, they align with us. And we do the same. There are people who influence us. We have those people that we want to emulate, follow, because we respect the way they are living their lives. So you have no power to create anyone else's reality, but you do have a power called influence, and may you use it well. And that brings us to the final point, which I will just read to you out of the book. It says, the unseen principle of energy flow cannot be avoided or cheated any more than you can defy the laws of gravity and motion. What we dwell on attracts people and events in alignment with our beliefs and feelings. Our habitual thoughts create beliefs and feelings that determine what is happening in our personal lives. Our personal lives, created by our thought habits, create what happens locally and globally. That is how powerful you are. I hope you gained something from this presentation today. I would again like to encourage you to read the seventh major understanding. I'll get it in the picture here because this is Joshua's philosophy of oneness. It is the basics. It's the rudimentary. He didn't go into a lot of detail that takes us to other dimensions of reality in this particular book. This is just the introduction to the seventh major understanding. And if you would read it and grasp it, I'm telling you, it will change your life. I love you. Joshua loves you more than you know. Call upon him at any time and he will answer you. Also, I invite you to get in touch with me. And if you watch our videos and you're enjoying our content, we would appreciate a thumbs up. And if you would consider subscribing, it would really be helpful for growing our outreach. Thank you very much.